Good morning, Junior 6. How are you today? Let's start to complete our lesson today, which is called lever. You have learned from the last video that the lever means it's a rigid bar, rotates around fixed points. It's a rigid bar, rotates around fixed point, called what? Yes, called fulcrum, and is affected by two forces, effort force and resistance force. So the lever means rigid bar rotates around fixed point, rigid bar rotates around fixed point called fulcrum and is affected by effort force and resistance force. Okay? You have learned the structure of levers. So any lever consists of resistance force, effort force, and fulcrum. Okay, and the importance of levers. And you learn that the importance of levers are increasing force or increasing distance, increasing speed, moving force from one place to another, and accuracy in performance and avoid dangers. All of these are the functions or the importance of levers. Now we will talk about the types of levers. The types of levers. Levers are classified according to the location of effort force and resistance force and fulcrum into three types. So there are three types of levers. There are three types of levers. How many types of levers? Three types of levers. According to what? According to the location of effort force, resistance force, and fulcrum. And the types of levers are called first class lever. Number one, first class lever. Number two, second class lever. And number three, third class lever. So the types of levers are first class, second class, and third class levers. According to what? According to the location of effort force and resistance force and fulcrum. Let's start with number one, the first class lever. What is the meaning of first class lever? First class lever, they are the most popular type of levers in our daily life. They are the most popular type of levers in our daily life. What is the meaning of first class lever? First class lever means they are levers that have the fulcrum between the effort force and the resistance force. Like this. This is first class lever. So its lever have what? Have fulcrum between what? Between effort and resistance. Between effort and load. Effort force and resistance force. So the fulcrum between effort force and resistance force. So these levers are called first class lever. First class lever. Why? Because the fulcrum lie between the resistance force and the effort force. We have some examples about the first class levers. Like what? Number one, like seesaw. The seesaw, this picture is called seesaw levers. Okay? Here, it's a rigid bar. Okay? The fulcrum is between fulcrum, rotates around fixed point called fulcrum. Rotates around fixed point called fulcrum. Okay? The fulcrum between the effort force and the resistance force. So this lever are first class lever. Number two, the crowbar. The crowbar. Crowbar is the first class lever because the fulcrum here, like here, is between the resistance force and the effort force. And also like scissors. Scissors is first class lever because you affect your force in the handles, and the resistance force that the force results from the weight of the object in the metal here, but this nail is the fulcrum. It's the fixed point that this bar rotates around. So the scissors are examples of first class lever. Like water pump. Water pump is an example of first class lever. Yes. Like pincers. Also like scissors and pliers. This picture is called pliers and this is pincers. Like pedal. Pedal is first class lever. And hammer claw. Hammer claw also is first class lever because the fulcrum is between the resistance force and the effort force. And also like nail clippers. Nail clippers also is first class lever. Nail clippers are first class lever. Okay, all of these are examples of first class lever. So you have to know that each of scissors, pliers, pincers, and nail clippers are composed of two first class levers. Composed of two first class levers. Okay, if I ask you any example of first class lever, why or give reason is a first class lever, if I ask you or give you any example of like pincers or hammer claw or nail clippers or scissors, why or give reason nail clippers are first class lever, you have to answer by the definition of the first class lever. What is the meaning of first class lever? Because it has the fulcrum between the effort force and the resistance force. Because the fulcrum between effort force and the resistance force, so this type of levers are first class lever. The second class lever, like what? Or what is the meaning of second class lever? Second class lever, the resistance here, the resistance force is between the fulcrum and the effort force. So they are levers that have the resistance force between the effort force and fulcrum. Effort force and fulcrum, like this. The load or resistance or the weight of the object here is between force, effort force, and fulcrum. We have some examples about second class lever like wheelbarrow. Number one, wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrow is first or second? No, second class lever. Why? Because the load here or the resistance is between the effort force and fulcrum. So if the resistance force between fulcrum and the effort force, so this type is second class lever. Number two, bottle opener. The bottle opener. Bottle opener here, the load here is or the resistance is between what? Between effort force and fulcrum. So this type is second class lever. Number three, like nutcracker. Nutcracker here. The effort force here on your hand, and here it's the fulcrum, but the load or the resistance is between the fulcrum and effort force. So this type of lever is a second class lever. Number four, like stapler. Stapler like this. You put the paper here, so the load or the weight of the object affect here. So the load or the resistance is between fulcrum and the effort force. So the stapler is second class lever. So we have 4 examples about the second class lever, like wheelbarrow, bottle opener, stapler, and nutcracker. They are second class lever. But the examples of first class lever, like seesaw, crowbar, scissors, water pump, pincers, pliers, paddle, hammer claw, nail clippers. So the first class lever are the most popular type of levers in our daily life. Number 3, the third class lever. Third class lever, what is the meaning of the third class lever? They are the levers, here they are the levers that have the effort force between fulcrum and resistance force. Fulcrum and resistance force. So if the effort force between fulcrum and the resistance force, so this type of levers is third class lever. Third class lever because the effort force between fulcrum and resistance. But if the resistance between fulcrum and the effort force, so this type is second class supers. But if the fulcrum between effort force and the resistance force, so this type is first class lever. Excellent. We have some examples about third class levers. Like number 1, like fishing tool. Fishing tool here. You hold the fishing tool from the middle here. So the effort force between the fulcrum and the resistance force or the load. The resistance force, it's the weight or the force that affected by the weight of the fish or the weight of the body that you need to move. So the effort force between the resistance force and fulcrum. So this type is third class lever. Number 2, like manual broom. Manual broom also, you hold the manual broom from the middle, so the effort force between the resistance force and the fulcrum. Like ice holder or cool holder. Ice holder or cool holder. You hold the ice holder or cool holder from the middle, so the effort force between the resistance force and fulcrum. This is or sweet holder. Here, the manual broom here, the effort force is between the resistance force and fulcrum. Also like tweezers. This shape is called tweezers. Tweezers also from the third class lever. Why? Because the effort force between the resistance force and fulcrum. And this is called the sweet holder. Sweet holder also from the third class lever. And this is the fishing tool. And the last one is called the hockey pad. Hockey pad also from the third class lever. So we have some examples about the third class lever, like fishing tool, manual broom, ice holder or coal holder or sweet holder, tweezers and hockey pad. All of these are third class lever because the effort force is between the fulcrum and the resistance force. You have to know that each of tweezers, ice holder and sweet holder are composed of 2 third class lever. Okay, 2 third class lever. If I ask you, junior 6, any example, I told you any example from the first class lever and ask you, give reason. Example, what? Pedal or tweezers or nail clippers. is a first class lever because plus definition of the first class lever. What is the meaning of first class lever? Like number 1, because it has the fulcrum between effort force and resistance force. So the first class lever has the fulcrum between effort force and resistance force. Number 2, any example about second class lever? Wheelbarrow, nutcracker, stapler, bottle opener is second class lever. Why? What is the meaning of second class lever? Has the resistance force between effort force and fulcrum. Number 3, example about third class lever. Any example? Why is a third class lever? Because it has effort force between the resistance force and fulcrum. So, from your study of the types of the levers, you can determine the type of any lever in our daily life by doing these steps. Number 1, determine the position of effort force, resistance force, and fulcrum. You have to determine what is the location or the position of effort force, resistance force, and fulcrum. Then identify the midpoint of the lever. Where is the midpoint? It's fulcrum, so it's a first class lever. Resistance force, so it's a second class lever. Effort force, so it's a third class lever. So determine the type of the levers as in the following: this first class lever because the fulcrum between resistance and effort force. Second class lever because the resistance force between effort force and fulcrum. Third class lever because the effort force between the resistance force and fulcrum. So let's make a comparison between the first class lever and second and third class lever. First class lever, what is the definition of the first class lever? Its lever has fulcrum between resistance force and effort force. Fulcrum between effort force and resistance force. Like what? Like seesaw, crowbar, scissors, water pump, pincers, pliers, pedal, hammer claw, nail clipper. Second class lever. What is the meaning of second class lever? Lever has resistance force between effort force and fulcrum. So the resistance force is in the middle. Resistance in the middle between effort force and fulcrum. Like wheelbarrow, bottle opener, nutcracker, and stapler. Third class lever, the effort force is between the resistance force and fulcrum. So the effort force in the middle, like fishing tool, manual broom, ice holder, sweet holder, tweezers, hockey pad, or coal holder. All of these are examples of third class lever. Thank you, Junior 6. Goodbye.